Hi folks, Mitch Albom here, ready to get you caught up on Chapter 6 of Human Touch, the online story I'm writing for free, so that you can be ready for Chapter 7, which is now available today, May 22nd. You can download it for free or download the Audible version for free and listen to it. All we ask is that you consider making a donation to Detroit Beats COVID-19, our efforts here to help those who are afflicted with COVID-19. We're doing a really good job. Thank you for all the funds that you have been able to contribute. We are operating a mobile testing center and is the only testing center in the whole city of Detroit where people can walk up and get tested as well, which is crucially important because not everybody has a car to get tested, and it's doing fantastic work in the city of Detroit. Please help us keep it open. Okay, so Chapter 6. Things are getting more serious with the virus, and we're really seeing it affect the entire landscape of this fictional story right now. At the hospital, Greg, our doctor, actually watches a patient die while a nurse holds up a cell phone and his family says goodbye to him. They can't even be there for the final moments, and it really has an effect on Greg. Buck, you remember, the grandson of Old Man Ricketts, who got in a whole lot of trouble with the militia and up at the Capitol. He's now home with his grandparents, but he's in quarantine for 14 days and kind of stewing over the whole thing. Sam Lee, you remember, our Asian American who's had a whole hard time with people calling him all kinds of names and blaming him somehow for this virus because he's Chinese American, drives into downtown Detroit, which is now a ghost town on account of the virus, and has a long-distance physical meeting with his boss in which he requests a transfer. He wants to leave this town. He wants to go to Northern California, specifically a town up near San Jose, because privately, he doesn't tell his boss this, but he wants to be in a place where there are more Asian Americans in a majority than where he is right now. He says if he's going to live in a country like this that's going to be so angry at him, he wants to at least be in the majority. So he's planning to now leave and take Cindy with him. Little Moses, our young Haitian hero, has another dream in which he sees the mysterious Haitian man in the cap and the earring. And this time the Haitian man says to him that if you see a hat with a deer and antlers on it, you should run. Of course, little Moses doesn't understand what this is, but he loves to run. Pastor Winston, meanwhile, continues to work at that homeless shelter where he takes a lot of chances, taking off his mask and his gloves as a form of almost self-inflicted punishment for the fact that he held services and then some of his congregants got sick. And then he finds out that one of them, a woman named Charlene, has died. And this has a profound effect on how he feels about himself. And he starts spending more and more time at the shelter to try to make up for what he perceives as his sin. Old Man Ricketts keeps the cider mill open, and the lines get longer and longer, but people now are getting kind of fed up with the regulations and the fact that everybody has to wear a mask. And one day, Charlene is at the counter and gets into it with a man who refuses to wear a mask, and he grabs her and rubs his face on her face before Old Man Ricketts can come out and chase him out to the car. And now, of course, they're afraid that she might catch the disease as a result of that. Rose Baby, remember, little Moses' mother, continues to draw blood from little Moses until she has 8 vials of his blood because, of course, she believes that he's immune to all disease and this blood can somehow help people. She also makes a phone call to Haiti, who she's been searching for the man, the faith healer, you remember way back at the beginning, who was there in the village and who blessed little Moses and who told her that he could never get sick. And she needs to speak with him. And finally, she hears from a woman in the village, and the woman says, he's no longer here. And she says, well, do you know where he went? And the woman says, America. Meanwhile, let's see, back at the hospital, Greg walks into his mother-in-law's room, Ginger. You remember at the end of the previous chapter, he injected her with some of Moses' blood, which is against all medical ethics. Well, he walks into the hospital room and she's sitting up and she's alert and awake and she says, hi, sweetie. And he realizes, oh my God, there's something in this blood that forms some sort of miracle. And he races out to Carl, his friend, the virologist, and says, you've got to make a serum. Try to make a serum out of that blood I gave you. And Carl says, I thought you told me not to. He says, well, I'm changing my mind. Keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, the little militia group that we've created here, Anthony, JP, and Riley, are now holed up in an abandoned cottage as they plot their next move. Buck is now gone. They decide they're going to make an attack on Sam Lee, the Asian American, make an example out of him as an infected foreigner who somehow helped start this disease. They order a pizza in their abandoned cottage, and there's a knock on the door, and it turns out to be Daniel, Buck's brother, delivering the pizza. But since he doesn't know who these guys are, he doesn't realize what they're doing, and he just leaves the pizza there and goes on with his day. And you're going, oh, I'll say something, but he doesn't. And finally, a nice moment. Ava, who you remember, has kind of felt bad because she had that kissing session with her boyfriend and never told her parents. Could have caused all kinds of trouble. And she decides to try to make it up to them. And she remembers that they were going to have their 20th wedding anniversary before all of this started, but it got canceled. So she makes a few calls in the neighborhood. And on a Saturday, which of course is the day for everybody in human touch, she asks her parents if they'll come outside and look at something. She saw something she wants them to see. And Greg and Amy come outside, and there are all the neighborhood people on this one corner that we're telling the story about, over here and over here and over here, over here, socially distancing, but singing happy anniversary and clapping for them. And they have sort of a neighborhood social distance party, which is sweet and reminds Greg and Amy how special it is to be connected to your neighbors. And finally, that night, Sam and little Moses go out onto the lawn in front of Sam's house with a for sale sign that Sam's going to hammer in because he's going to be moving. And they're jumped by the militia guys. And all hell kind of breaks loose because little Moses looks at the hat of one of the militia guys and sees that there's a deer with antlers on it, and suddenly remembers what the Haitian man told him run, and he takes off and runs, and they start to scatter. There's a gunshot. We don't know who gets shot, and little Moses is running and saying, I'm the Flash, I can run, I can outrun anybody, and suddenly an arm swoops in and grabs him and says, come here, you little rat. And so now you know what happens in chapter 6. You're ready to dive into chapter 7. Again, thank you for all your readership, your listenership, and especially for your donations. Human Touch Story is where you get this, humantouchstory.com. Dive on into chapter 7. There's one more chapter to go after this one next week. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you stay safe. Thank you.